Seniors, top 4 worst seafoods destroying your health and 4 you need daily. You might be thinking, seafood. That's healthy, right? I've been told to eat more fish my whole life. And yes, seafood can be incredibly good for you, but here's the shocking part. Some of the most popular seafoods you see on your plate, the ones you think are light, heart-friendly, or good for your joints, might actually be destroying your health from the inside out. Now, I know some of you might totally agree and say, yes, I always suspected that not all seafood is created equal. But I also know there are others thinking, oh, come on, I've been eating shrimp and scallops for years and I feel fine. Here's the reality. You might feel fine today, but the damage can build up slowly and silently, showing up as joint pain, fatigue, high blood pressure, or sudden heart issues later on. What if I told you that just changing the seafood on your plate could mean the difference between needing a cane and dancing at your grandchild's wedding? In today's video, we're breaking down the top 4 worst seafoods that seniors should never touch, and the top 4 best seafoods you need to include daily if you want to protect your joints, sharpen your mind, and keep your energy high as you age. Before we dive into these surprising details, don't forget to hit that like button, share this video with your friends and family, and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us keep making science-backed, life-changing health tips just for you. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Some of these seafoods might already be sitting in your fridge right now, and by the end of this video, you might never look at your grocery list the same way again. Ready? Let's get started with the 4 worst seafoods every senior should think twice about before putting on their plate. Number 1, squid, the cholesterol bomb hiding on your plate. I remember my patient, Mr. Robert, a 67-year-old retired engineer, who came to my clinic struggling with morning stiffness, sudden blood pressure spikes, and energy crashes that forced him to give up his beloved morning walks. He proudly told me, "Doctor, I eat seafood every week, mostly squid salads or grilled calamari. That's healthy, right?" On the surface, squid seems like a smart choice, low in fat, high in protein, clean on the plate. But the truth is far more dangerous. Just 3 ounces of cooked squid contain about 198 mg of cholesterol, over 65% of the daily limit. While younger folks might handle this, for seniors like us, whose livers slow down with age and can't regulate cholesterol as efficiently, it's a disaster waiting to happen. As we get older, our liver struggles to process and remove cholesterol, causing blood levels to rise and arteries to stiffen. This stiffness directly raises our risk for heart attacks and strokes, the biggest killers of seniors today. A 2021 study in Nutrients found that seniors with high dietary cholesterol intake were 43% more likely to show signs of arterial stiffness and had a 31% higher risk of heart events. Squid doesn't stop at cholesterol. It's also high in purines, which break down into uric acid. With age, our kidneys weaken and can't clear uric acid well, leading to crystals forming in the joints, a painful condition called gout. One of my patients, Mrs. Leanne, 68, developed terrible gout flare-ups after adding fried squid to her Friday dinners. She thought she was making a healthy swap, but ended up nearly losing her ability to tend her garden, the activity that gave her the most joy. The scariest part? The damage from squid sneaks up on you. You might feel fine today after that calamari appetizer, but weeks later, you're waking up with stiff fingers, locked knees, or unexpected chest tightness. You might chalk it up to just getting older, but in reality, it's your body sounding the alarm. As a senior myself, I've experienced these surprises firsthand. Years ago, I loved calamari at social gatherings. I believed I was making a light choice until one morning I couldn't close my hand around my coffee mug. My blood pressure had crept up, and I felt exhausted doing simple chores. Lab tests showed my LDL cholesterol had shot up to 180 mg/dl, dangerously high for my age. Once I cut out squid and focused on true healing foods like oysters and sea cucumber, my cholesterol dropped, my joints loosened up, and I felt alive again. Have you ever thought your healthy seafood choice could actually be harming you? Do you check cholesterol and uric acid levels regularly, or just go by how you feel? I encourage you to really think about this next time you order seafood. The choices you make today affect your ability to stay active, play with your grandkids, or enjoy long walks tomorrow. Squid isn't just another seafood. It's a stealthy saboteur for seniors. Loaded with cholesterol and purines, it quietly stiffens arteries, ignites joint pain, and chips away at your energy and freedom. Aging doesn't have to mean decline, but it does require smart choices. So next time, pause before ordering that calamari and ask yourself, is this plate supporting the life I want to live? Number 2, imitation crab, the industrial imposter. When most seniors see imitation crab, also called surimi, they think it's a smart, light, and cheaper alternative to real crab. It looks pretty, tastes sweet, and shows up everywhere from sushi rolls to buffet salads. But the truth is, imitation crab isn't seafood in the real sense at all. It's a heavily processed food made from a white fish paste, usually pollock, mixed with starch, sugar, salt, artificial flavors, and coloring. In other words, it's a lab creation dressed up to fool us. Imitation crab is basically a refined carb bomb. A 2020 study in clinical nutrition found that it has a glycemic index similar to white bread, which means it spikes your blood sugar fast and then drops it just as quickly. That's a dangerous game for seniors, especially those with prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. I'll never forget my patient, Mr. James, a 72-year-old retired pilot who loved making healthy sushi bowls at home with imitation crab. Within 6 months, his HbA1c jumped from 6.2% to 7.8%, landing him squarely in diabetes territory. He was shocked because he thought he was doing everything right by cutting out fried foods. Beyond sugar, imitation crab is loaded with sodium. One serving can pack over 700 mg of sodium before adding any sauces. Our kidneys naturally lose efficiency as we age, and high sodium intake only worsens high blood pressure, causes swelling in the legs and feet, and puts extra strain on the heart and kidneys. Many seniors also don't realize that imitation crab often contains additives like MSG, which can cause headaches, dizziness, and even heart palpitations. I've had patients come to me after a buffet dinner terrified they were having a heart attack, only to discover they were reacting to sodium and hidden chemicals. I'll admit, years ago I fell for it too. I thought those red and white sticks were a light protein snack, until I started noticing swelling in my ankles and constant brain fog after meals. My own blood pressure crept up, and my labs started to show prediabetes warnings. It was a wake-up call I needed. Have you ever felt unexpectedly tired or puffy after a seafood salad? Do you check labels, or do you assume seafood means safe? Imitation crab may seem harmless, but for seniors, it's a dangerous mix of sugar spikes, salt overload, and chemical additives, a metabolic nightmare disguised as a light lunch. Next time you see it on the menu, think twice. Is it helping you stay strong and independent, or is it silently setting you back? Number 3, scallops, the elegant but toxic shellfish. Scallops might seem like the perfect healthy choice, delicate, lightly seared, and a highlight on any upscale restaurant menu. But beneath that elegant image hides a dangerous truth for seniors: cadmium. Cadmium is a heavy metal that builds up in filter feeders like scallops, and once it gets into your body, it's nearly impossible to remove. It settles in your kidneys, gradually reducing their ability to filter waste. As we age, our kidney function naturally declines, making us even more vulnerable. A 2022 study in toxicology reports showed that even small servings of scallops can contain up to 1.8 micrograms of cadmium per gram. The World Health Organization recommends no more than 7 micrograms per kilogram of body weight per week. So for a 70 kg senior, just a few scallops can push you dangerously close to the toxic limit. I remember Mrs. Susan, a 69-year-old art teacher who came to me feeling wiped out, her ankles swollen, and her urine tests showing protein leakage, classic signs of kidney strain. After going through her diet, we discovered she was eating scallops twice a week, thinking they were a healthy seafood option. Once she cut them out, her kidney markers improved significantly within 3 months, and she regained the energy to get back into her painting studio. What's more, scallops are extremely low in omega-3 fatty acids, less than 30 mg per 100 grams. In comparison, oysters contain over 500 mg per serving. Omega-3s help reduce inflammation, support brain health, and keep joints moving smoothly, all of which are crucial as we get older. Without them, seniors miss out on vital protection against memory decline and joint stiffness. Have you ever assumed that a fancy dish automatically means it's good for you? I used to order scallops on special occasions, thinking I was making a smart, clean choice. But over time, I noticed my legs felt heavier, my blood pressure edged up, and I left dinners feeling drained instead of energized. Blood work revealed my kidney function was slipping and inflammation markers were climbing, all because of something I thought was a treat. Scallops deliver almost no real nutritional benefit for seniors and instead load your body with cadmium, putting extra pressure on your kidneys and robbing you of energy. Next time you see scallops on the menu, ask yourself, is this meal really helping me stay active and sharp, or is it just a pretty plate with hidden risks? Number 4, shrimp, the deceptive delicacy. Shrimp is one of those foods that feels light, tasty, and easy to cook, which is why so many seniors think it's a safe choice. But it can actually be a silent threat. Just 3 ounces of shrimp hold around 180 mg of cholesterol. As we age, our arteries stiffen and our liver struggles more to clear cholesterol, making us prone to plaque buildup and heart disease. A 2021 study in Circulation tracking 8,700 seniors showed that those consuming more than 300 mg of dietary cholesterol daily had a 35% higher risk of stroke and 24% higher risk of heart disease. On top of that, shrimp contains tropomyosin, a tough protein that can confuse an aging immune system. Even seniors who never had allergies can suddenly develop reactions like hives or even life-threatening anaphylaxis. According to a study in the Journal of Allergy and Clinical Immunology, 14% of new shellfish allergies happen after age 65, often without warning. Shrimp shells also contain chitin, a fiber that can cause bloating, gas, and gut inflammation, especially in seniors with slower digestion. Have you ever felt weirdly full or noticed stomach cramps after a shrimp meal? That might be why. Another hidden danger is that most shrimp today is farmed and often treated with antibiotics like oxytetracycline and enrofloxacin, some of which are banned in many countries. A 2022 analysis in Food Control found antibiotic residues in 42% of frozen shrimp from Southeast Asia. These residues can mess with gut bacteria, encourage antibiotic resistance, and throw off your metabolism, all serious issues for older adults. I remember when I was in my late 60s, I swapped steak for shrimp thinking I was doing my heart a favor. A year later, my cholesterol shot up, my digestion felt off, and blood tests showed higher inflammation markers. It was a wake-up call I didn't expect. Have you ever stopped to think about where your shrimp comes from or how often you eat it? Many seniors think of shrimp as a light choice, but it can quietly hurt your heart, stir up new allergies, upset your gut, and throw your health off balance. Next time you see shrimp on the menu, ask yourself if it's really helping you stay strong and active, or if it's just another hidden risk in disguise. A doctor's summary: why these seafood choices fail seniors. When you combine sky-high cholesterol, heavy metal buildup, blood sugar spikes, hidden additives, allergenic proteins, and digestive stress, it's clear why these seafoods, squid, imitation crab, scallops, and shrimp, are actually some of the worst options for seniors. Over the years, I've watched patients lose mobility, suffer surprise heart attacks, develop kidney problems, or struggle with unexplained fatigue, all linked back to these foods they thought were healthy. I remember a patient in his early 70s who proudly chose seafood over steak, thinking he was making a heart-smart choice. He loved shrimp and scallops, but within 2 years his cholesterol shot up, his legs started swelling, and he ended up needing a heart stent. Another patient, a 75-year-old woman devoted to her imitation crab salads, suddenly found herself with high blood pressure and prediabetes. She was shocked when we discovered she was consuming imitation crab almost every other day, unknowingly packing in sugar and sodium. As we age, our arteries get stiffer, kidneys lose filtering power, our immune system becomes unpredictable, and our gut gets weaker at processing certain proteins and chemicals. These seafoods quietly make those problems worse, turning what looks like a safe choice into a hidden health trap. Have you ever really checked where your seafood comes from or looked closely at the labels? Have you noticed more joint pain, swelling, or fatigue after seafood meals and brushed it off as just aging? I did the same thing in my 60s. I thought I was doing everything right until my cholesterol spiked, and my morning walks felt like climbing a hill. Only after cutting out these foods did I finally feel strong again. Seniors deserve to stay active and independent as long as possible, but these seafoods can slowly take that away. Next time you see them on your plate, ask yourself, is this really helping me stay strong and energized, or is it quietly working against me? Next, let's explore the 4 best seafoods for seniors that help you stay strong, active, and feeling your best. Number 1, sea cucumber, nature's collagen factory. I still remember Mrs. Helen, a 74-year-old former ballet teacher known for her grace and flexibility. After she turned 70, she started struggling with severe knee pain, her skin lost its bounce, and she could no longer bend or move like before. Doctors gave her painkillers and injections, but nothing really worked. When she came to me, we reviewed her diet and I suggested she add sea cucumber. Within 3 months, her knee pain dropped by almost 50%, and she regained enough flexibility to join her local Thai Chi class, something she thought she had lost forever. Sea cucumber might look strange, but it's a powerhouse for seniors. It's loaded with collagen-like compounds, chondroitin sulfate, and triterpene glycosides that help rebuild cartilage, improve joint flexibility, and reduce chronic inflammation without damaging the stomach like some pain meds do. A 2021 study in the International Journal of Molecular Sciences found that seniors who took sea cucumber extract had a 35% drop in joint pain and better mobility after 12 weeks. Plus, the collagen in sea cucumber is easier for aging bodies to absorb because of its smaller molecular size. Have you ever felt like your joints are stiff in the morning or noticed your skin getting thinner and weaker? I've been there too. In my late 60s, my knees felt stiff every morning and my skin started to sag no matter how many lotions I tried. When I began adding sea cucumber to my diet twice a week, my knees felt stronger, my skin looked healthier, and I could finally get back to my morning walks without pain. To prepare it, soak dried sea cucumber in water for 12 to 24 hours until it expands fully. Then simmer it slowly with chicken or bone broth, ginger, garlic, and mild herbs. Avoid overcooking it so you don't lose its collagen benefits. In many Asian dishes, it's used in soups or stews, and it's both healing and comforting. Have you ever tried sea cucumber? Would you be open to adding it to your meals to help your joints and skin feel younger? Share your thoughts. Sometimes one small change can lead to big improvements in how we move and feel every day. Number 2, green-lipped mussels, the anti-inflammatory champions. When I attended a nutrition conference in Auckland, New Zealand, I learned about green-lipped mussels from a local researcher studying Maori elders. The elders who regularly ate these mussels had fewer cases of arthritis and needed fewer joint replacements than those who didn't live near the coast. That caught my attention, and when I started adding green-lipped mussels to my patients' diets, I saw improvements I had never achieved with regular fish oil supplements. What makes them special is a rare omega-3 fatty acid called icosahexaenoic acid, ETA, which is much more powerful at blocking the enzyme 5-lipoxygenase that causes joint inflammation than the common EPA and DHA in fish oil. A 2020 study in Nutrients showed that seniors taking green-lipped mussel extract daily had a 42% drop in joint pain, 35% better mobility, and less morning stiffness. Besides helping with joint pain, these mussels are full of zinc for immune health and wound healing, selenium and iodine to support thyroid function and keep metabolism steady, and iron to help prevent anemia, which is common in seniors. Have you ever felt like your joints just won't loosen up no matter what supplements you take? I know the feeling. In my late 60s, climbing stairs felt like climbing a mountain, and my morning stiffness lasted for hours. Once I started eating green-lipped mussels a few times a week, my knees felt freer, my balance improved, and I finally enjoyed my morning walks again. The best way to eat them is steamed with garlic, lemon, and parsley to keep the omega-3s active. Don't fry them, heat destroys those delicate fats. And definitely drink the broth, which is packed with minerals and makes a soothing, nutrient-rich soup. Have you ever tried green-lipped mussels? Would you be willing to give them a shot to see if they help your joints move more easily? Let me know. Sometimes one small change in your diet can make all the difference in how you feel every single day. Number 3, oysters, nature's multivitamin. In my practice, I always call oysters nature's multivitamin in a shell. Many seniors come to me complaining about low energy, slow wound healing, brittle nails, and thinning hair, and almost every time we discover a zinc deficiency. After age 60, zinc is even more critical because it keeps the immune system strong, helps wounds heal faster, supports hormone balance, and keeps the brain sharp. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that 40% of seniors are zinc deficient, leading to more infections, slower recovery, and higher hospitalization rates. Just 2 medium oysters can give you over 100% of your daily zinc needs, and also provide vitamin B12 for nerve health and energy, selenium to protect the thyroid and fight inflammation, and copper to strengthen bones and support collagen production. While many seniors take zinc pills, these often cause nausea, leave a bad metallic taste, and don't always absorb well. Oysters give you zinc in a natural, bioavailable form that your body can actually use. Have you ever noticed your energy fading or your hair getting thinner and just assumed it was aging? In my late 60s, I realized small cuts on my hands weren't healing, and I always felt drained. Adding oysters a few times a week completely changed that. My wounds healed quicker, my hair looked fuller, and I felt stronger and more alive. If you try oysters, eat them fresh and raw from trusted sources or steam them lightly with lemon and garlic. Avoid heavy sauces or frying, which can hide their natural benefits. I remember Mr. Paul, a 70-year-old patient who came in weak and struggling after a hip fracture. His hair was thinning and he kept catching infections. We discovered he was severely low in zinc and B12. After adding oysters twice a week and doing rehab, his wounds healed faster, his hair thickened, and by 72, he was hiking again. Have you ever thought about trying oysters to bring your energy and strength back? Sometimes the most natural foods really do make the biggest difference. Number 4, sea moss, the marine miracle for joints and gut. Sea moss, also known as Irish moss, is probably the most underrated marine superfood for seniors. It contains over 90 trace minerals like magnesium, potassium, sulfur, selenium, iron, and iodine, all of which become harder for our bodies to absorb as we age. While sea moss doesn't have collagen itself, it's packed with vitamin C, sulfur, and proline, which help the body produce new collagen to keep joints flexible, strengthen skin and hair, and support a healthy gut lining. A 2022 study in Marine Drugs showed that seniors who consumed sea moss daily experienced a 37% improvement in joint mobility and a 29% reduction in skin dryness within 8 weeks. Sea moss is also a gut health powerhouse thanks to its high mucilage content, a type of soluble fiber that forms a soothing gel in the gut, reduces inflammation, supports good bacteria, and improves nutrient absorption. A 2021 clinical trial showed that sea moss reduced bloating and digestive discomfort by over 50% in seniors within a month. I remember Mrs. Emily, a 69-year-old patient who struggled for years with joint stiffness and severe bloating. After adding sea moss gel to her morning smoothies, her joint pain eased, her gut issues almost vanished, and she had enough energy to get back to volunteering at her local animal shelter, something she hadn't done in years. In my late 60s, I started using sea moss myself after feeling slowed down by joint aches and digestive problems. Within weeks, I felt lighter, my joints moved more easily, and my skin looked healthier. Have you ever felt like your digestion or stiff joints are holding you back? Would you be open to trying something as simple and natural as sea moss instead of adding another pill? To prepare it, rinse raw sea moss thoroughly. Soak it in clean water for 12 to 24 hours while changing the water a few times. Then blend it into a smooth gel. You can add it to smoothies, teas, soups, or eat it straight. Just 1 or 2 tablespoons a day can make a huge difference. Sometimes the smallest daily changes, like adding sea moss, can completely transform how strong, flexible, and energized we feel as we age. A doctor's takeaway. When you compare these 4 marine foods to the worst seafood choices, a clear pattern stands out. Choosing the right seafood can help rebuild cartilage and support joint health with sea cucumber and sea moss, reduce chronic inflammation with green-lipped mussels, and boost immunity and speed up healing with oysters. Sea moss also supports gut health and keeps skin stronger and more elastic. These foods aren't quick fixes. They work gradually and naturally, strengthening your body from the inside out instead of just covering up pain with pills. I always think of my dad, who switched to a diet rich in sea moss and oysters in his 70s. Before that, he dealt with constant knee pain and low energy. After making these changes, his knee pain faded, his energy came roaring back, and he even jokes now that he feels younger than he did at 55. Seeing these changes in my own family and in hundreds of patients is exactly why I'm so passionate about encouraging seniors to make these shifts. Have you ever stopped to think if your daily fatigue and joint aches are really just aging, or if your body is asking for better nutrition? In my late 60s, I felt my energy dropping and my joints tightening up. Once I focused on adding these marine foods, I was able to hike again and felt clear-headed enough to start painting as a new hobby. Would you be open to trying these foods instead of depending on more medications? Do you believe it's still possible to feel stronger and more energetic even after 60? Sometimes the smallest changes make the biggest difference. Putting it all together, why most seniors fail, and how you can win. After decades of working with seniors, I've seen the same thing over and over. People learn about healthy foods but never actually bring them into their daily lives. Knowledge without action won't heal your joints or boost your energy. It's easy to watch a video or read an article and think, I should try oysters or see moss one day, but that day never comes. Meanwhile, your body keeps aging, and every meal you skip is a lost chance to repair rather than decline. At our age, every meal is either helping us get stronger or slowly pulling us down. Start slow. Add one new marine superfood each week so you can see how your body reacts. Rotate different options to get a full range of minerals and avoid overloading on any single one. Stay hydrated. As we age, our thirst signals weaken, and good hydration helps detoxify heavy metals and support digestion. Pair these marine foods with vitamin C-rich items like lemon or peppers to help your body absorb minerals better. Most importantly, listen to your body. Notice changes in joint pain, skin elasticity, digestion, energy, and mental clarity. I always suggest my patients keep a symptom and energy journal for 8 to 12 weeks when starting these foods. Each day, log your joint pain level from 0 to 10, how long your morning stiffness lasts, your digestion, bloating, or regularity, your skin condition, and your overall energy and mood. Tracking this not only keeps you motivated when you see improvements, but also helps us adjust the plan to fit your needs. Have you ever tried a new habit but gave up because you weren't tracking your progress? Do you think your body might be giving you signals you've been ignoring? In my 60s, I thought my low energy and morning aches were just getting old, until I started tracking everything. Only then did I see how powerful small changes really were. Would you be willing to write things down and really pay attention to how you feel? Sometimes that simple step can be the start of a whole new chapter of strength and energy. The deeper lesson, aging is a privilege, not a sentence. For too long, we've been taught that aging means decline. Weak bones, aching joints, fading memory, and relying on endless medications. But aging is a privilege. It shows the life you've lived and the experiences you've collected. Your body deserves the right fuel to keep going strong. Every bite you take tells your cells to either repair and rebuild or break down and weaken. By choosing marine superfoods full of minerals and collagen-building nutrients, you're choosing to repair and stay strong. I hear so many excuses from seniors. I don't have time. I don't like the taste, or it's too expensive. But what's more expensive than hospital bills, medications, and losing your independence? What's more painful than not being able to play with your grandkids or climb the stairs without help? Taste can change, habits can be built, and investing in your health now is always cheaper than paying for illness later. I remember when I was in my late 60s, I kept telling myself I was too busy and certain foods just weren't for me. Meanwhile, I was spending more on doctor visits and pills than I ever expected. When I finally made changes, I felt stronger and more alive than I had in years. Ask yourself, are you choosing meals that help you stay active and independent, or ones that slowly take that away? Have you accepted daily pain and fatigue as normal, or are you ready to fight for better days? I've dedicated my career to helping seniors take back their energy and freedom, but I can't make the choices for you. It starts with what's on your plate. If you truly want to walk without pain, sleep deeply, wake up feeling energized, and enjoy every moment of your golden years, you have to start today. One meal, one small change, one choice at a time. Are you ready to take that first step? So let's wrap this up. We've covered the top 4 worst seafoods that can silently damage your joints, heart, and overall energy, and the top 4 best marine superfoods that can help you stay strong, flexible, and sharp no matter your age. Remember, every meal is a choice. A chance to repair or a chance to decline. You don't have to accept pain, weakness, or fatigue as normal aging. You can take control, starting today, one plate at a time. If you take just one thing from this video, let it be this. Aging is a privilege, but thriving as you age is a choice. Thank you so much for watching and spending this time with me. I truly hope this video inspires you to rethink your seafood choices and make small changes that lead to big results. If you found this helpful, please hit that like button. It really supports our channel. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and family, because you never know who might need this information right now. And of course, make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell so you won't miss any of our future senior health tips. Stay strong, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.